Most people are terrified of being alone, not because loneliness hurts, but because it exposes. When the noise disappears, the illusions collapse, and what remains is the raw truth of who you are. Machiavelli understood this long before modern psychology gave it a name. He knew that power is not built in crowds, it is built in silence. Loneliness is not the absence of people, it is the absence of distraction. And that is why most people avoid it. Because in loneliness, you are forced to observe yourself, others, and reality without filters. Machiavelli did not write for the comfort of the masses. He wrote for rulers, strategists, and survivors. And every true strategist understands one thing: the loud are predictable. The silent are dangerous. Loneliness sharpens perception. When you step away from people, you stop performing, you stop explaining, you stop seeking validation, and slowly you begin to see patterns. You notice how people behave when they want something. You notice how loyalty fades when advantage disappears. You notice how morality bends under pressure. This is not cynicism, this is clarity. Machiavelli never believed humans were inherently good or evil. He believed they were self-interested. And loneliness teaches you this lesson faster than any betrayal ever could. When you are alone, you replay conversations. You remember moments that felt off. You connect dots you were too distracted to notice before. Loneliness removes emotional noise, and without noise, control becomes possible. Most people give away their power emotionally. They react, they overshare, they explain themselves. Machiavelli warned against this. The one who reveals too much becomes predictable. The one who reacts emotionally becomes controllable. Silence, on the other hand, creates uncertainty, and uncertainty creates power. When you withdraw, not out of fear but out of choice, you change the dynamic. People begin to wonder, what is he thinking? Why is he not reacting? What does he know? Your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. Loneliness builds emotional discipline. In isolation, there is no one to impress, no one to blame, no one to comfort you, only your thoughts. At first, this is painful. The mind resists stillness, but slowly, discipline forms. You learn to sit with discomfort without escaping it. You learn to control impulses instead of obeying them. You learn to delay reaction. Machiavelli valued this above all. A ruler who cannot control himself will never control others. A man who is ruled by emotion will always be manipulated by those who understand it. Loneliness is training. It teaches you restraint. While others rush to speak, you wait. While others seek approval, you observe. While others chase connection, you refine yourself. This is how inner authority is built. Loneliness also reveals a brutal truth. Most relationships are conditional. People admire you when you are useful. They support you when you are agreeable. They respect you when you are strong. Machiavelli did not condemn this. He accepted it. And acceptance is power. When you stop expecting loyalty where it does not exist, you stop being disappointed. When you stop expecting fairness, you stop being naive. When you stop expecting love to be unconditional, you stop being weak. Loneliness removes false expectations, and in their place, realism emerges. Realism is not pessimism. It is strategic awareness. The loner sees people clearly because he is not emotionally dependent on them. Dependency creates blindness. Distance creates vision. Machiavelli understood that rulers who surrounded themselves with constant praise became delusional. Solitude protects you from that fate. In loneliness, you are forced to confront your own flaws. There is no audience to distract you from your weaknesses. This is where true strength is forged, not in motivation, not in confidence, but in self-honesty. Loneliness humbles you, and humility, when combined with intelligence, is dangerous. Because you stop overestimating yourself. You stop underestimating others. You calculate instead of assuming. The lonely mind becomes strategic. You begin to plan long-term. You stop reacting to short-term emotions. Machiavelli believed patience was a weapon. Loneliness teaches patience naturally. When you have no one to rush for, you move at your own pace. When you have no one to impress, you choose precision over speed. Silence gives you time, time to think, time to wait, time to strike when it matters. The loner does not compete loudly. He positions himself quietly. This is why silence unsettles people. They cannot read you, they cannot provoke you, they cannot predict you. And what cannot be predicted cannot be controlled. Loneliness also breaks attachment to approval. Approval is one of the strongest tools of manipulation. People will betray themselves just to be liked. They will abandon truth for acceptance. They will silence their instincts to avoid rejection. Machiavelli warned against this weakness. The one who needs approval can never be free. Loneliness cuts this dependency. At first, the absence of validation feels like loss, but soon it becomes liberation. You stop shaping yourself for others. You stop editing your thoughts. You stop negotiating your values. You become internally aligned, and alignment creates calm. Calm is a form of power few understand. A calm individual cannot be rushed, cannot be panicked, cannot be easily deceived. Loneliness also prepares you for betrayal, because once you have survived your own company, losing others no longer terrifies you. Fear of abandonment is a leash. Machiavelli knew this. He advised rulers to be prepared to stand alone if necessary, because those who fear isolation will always compromise too early. The loner does not beg, he does not chase, he does not cling, he waits. And waiting is often the winning move. Loneliness sharpens intuition. Without constant input, the mind begins to listen inwardly. You sense shifts in tone, you notice inconsistencies, you feel when something is wrong, even without evidence. This intuition is not mystical. It is the result of observation without interference. Loneliness removes the crowd's influence. You stop absorbing other people's opinions as truth. You stop mistaking consensus for correctness. Machiavelli distrusted the crowd, not because they were evil, but because they were easily swayed. The loner is harder to sway, because he thinks before agreeing and questions before following. Loneliness also builds independence, not the loud, performative kind, but the quiet kind. The kind where you no longer need permission, where you no longer seek reassurance, where you no longer panic when support disappears. This independence changes how others treat you. People sense when you do not need them, and paradoxically, this often increases respect. Neediness repels, self-sufficiency attracts. Machiavelli understood this dynamic deeply. Power flows toward those who appear complete without it. Loneliness makes you complete, not emotionally numb, but emotionally sovereign. You feel deeply, but you are not ruled by feeling. You care, but you are not controlled by attachment. This balance is rare, and rarity is power. In the end, loneliness is not a punishment. It is preparation. It strips you down. It tests your mind. It hardens your emotional core. Those who escape loneliness remain soft, reactive, and dependent. Those who endure it emerge sharper, calmer, and more dangerous. Machiavelli would not tell you to seek loneliness out of bitterness. He would tell you to use it. Use it to observe. Use it to discipline yourself. Use it to understand human nature without illusion. Because the one who understands people without needing them controls the game without making noise. Loneliness also teaches you something most people never learn: how to sit with power without displaying it. Most people announce their strength. They signal confidence. They advertise dominance. Machiavelli would consider this a mistake. True power does not need to be seen to be effective. It operates quietly, beneath the surface. Loneliness trains you in this silence. When no one is watching, you stop performing strength. You stop exaggerating who you are. You stop proving anything. And in that absence of performance, something solid forms: self-trust. Self-trust is different from confidence. Confidence seeks confirmation. Self-trust does not. The lonely individual learns to make decisions without applause, without reassurance, without consensus. This makes him unpredictable. And unpredictability unsettles people far more than aggression ever could. Machiavelli knew that fear is not created by noise. It is created by uncertainty. When people cannot read you, they hesitate. When they cannot anticipate your reaction, they tread carefully. Loneliness removes emotional tells. You learn to keep your internal state private, your reactions minimal, your intentions concealed. This is not deception for its own sake. It is protection. Those who reveal everything are easily manipulated. Those who guard their inner world choose when to reveal and to whom. Loneliness also changes how you experience time. When you are not constantly reacting to others, time slows down. You begin to think in years, not moments, in consequences, not impulses. Machiavelli believed most people fail because they react too soon or too late. The lonely strategist develops timing. He knows when to move, and more importantly, when not to. Stillness becomes a tactic. While others exhaust themselves chasing immediate outcomes, the loner conserves energy. Energy is a finite resource. Loneliness teaches you how to protect it. You stop wasting emotional energy on arguments that change nothing, on people who listen only to reply, on situations designed to drain you. You become selective. Selectiveness is not arrogance, it is efficiency. Machiavelli admired efficiency. He believed rulers should act only when action served a clear purpose. Loneliness trains this discipline naturally. Another uncomfortable truth loneliness reveals is this: most people do not want truth. They want reassurance. They want to feel good, not to see clearly. The loner stops trying to convince others of reality. He understands that insight cannot be forced. This frees him. You no longer feel responsible for saving others from their illusions. You stop arguing with denial. You stop correcting people who benefit from being blind. Machiavelli warned against trying to reform human nature. He believed it was wiser to understand it than to fight it. Loneliness helps you accept this. Acceptance is not surrender. It is strategic alignment with reality. When you accept people as they are, not as they claim to be, you stop being surprised. And surprise is dangerous. Loneliness also exposes your own weaknesses, not in a dramatic way, in a quiet, relentless way. You notice patterns in your thoughts, habits in your reactions, fears you've been avoiding. There is no escape from self-awareness in solitude. This is why many people fear it. But Machiavelli would see this as an advantage. A man who knows his weaknesses can manage them. A man who ignores them is ruled by them. Loneliness turns self-knowledge into armor. You stop overestimating your emotional control. You stop trusting yourself blindly. You become precise with your limits. Precision creates stability, and stability creates authority. Loneliness also reshapes ambition. Instead of chasing recognition, you begin to chase leverage. Instead of wanting to be seen, you want to be positioned. Machiavelli understood that visibility attracts enemies. The loner prefers quiet influence over loud success. He builds foundations while others build images. Images collapse quickly. Foundations do not. Loneliness allows you to detach from social pressure. You stop measuring yourself against others' timelines, their milestones, their definitions of success. Comparison weakens strategic thinking. Machiavelli knew that envy and imitation distort judgment. The loner defines his own pace. This patience frustrates competitors. They rush, they overextend, they expose themselves. The loner waits. Waiting is not inactivity. It is observation without commitment. Loneliness also prepares you for loss. Loss of people, loss of status, loss of certainty. Once you have faced emptiness, nothing terrifies you the same way again. Fear loses its grip. And fear is the primary tool used to control people. Machiavelli believed fear could be used, but never allowed to dominate the ruler himself. Loneliness teaches emotional self-governance. You feel fear, but you do not obey it. You feel desire, but you do not chase it blindly. You feel anger, but you do not let it decide for you. This internal order reflects outwardly. People sense it. They feel your calm even when you say nothing. Calm is contagious, but only to those who have earned it. Loneliness also clarifies values, not moral slogans, but operational values. What you tolerate, what you walk away from, what you protect. Without external influence, your priorities sharpen. You stop negotiating with yourself. This internal alignment is rare, and rarity commands respect, even silently. Machiavelli believed consistency was a form of strength, unpredictability in action, but consistency in principle. Loneliness helps you find this balance. You become flexible in strategy, but firm in core intent. In the end, loneliness does not make you cold. It makes you precise. It does not remove emotion. It teaches you where emotion belongs and where it does not. Those who master loneliness do not dominate loudly. They influence quietly. They do not chase control. They attract it. They do not announce power. They embody it.